Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. Ezekwesili. This is the mandate 23. I'm back again. Of Chronicles. We're related to next schools. And every day, now have been out. So thank you for the here. Collation to be up to the next vision. And there is choose the next international assembly. Dreaming finance on all that is self-ministers. I'm back to be here. So with me is Sandra. Back to the news. Okay, later I'm talking about songs, plans, charging media bonus, about the films raining, let's also talk about turnout failures and charge them. But first I want to talk about the alias, how advertisers in room with 9 number polls out before the election. Seeing results spreading all over the country, how does that poll say before the election?
Okay,
Okay, all right, that's a fair enough answer. This to be change over organization PD has able to come not looking at the BIVAS law response. I have already made this over and will not take it in 2015. Chief, what's thinking that INEC HQ should also run?
So I'd say something that I probably have never seen in my entire life. I 100% agree with Melaye. I think that's the first. No, Melaye is correct because at the end of the day, INEC told us what the procedure is supposed to be. And this is what I've been saying on the show yesterday and day before yesterday. INEC told us people will be accredited at the polling unit, people will vote at the polling unit, the votes will be counted at the polling unit, the results will be written at the polling unit on the Form EC8A result sheet, and then BIVAS will be used to take a picture of those results at the polling unit in the presence of everybody. The BIVAS will be used to transmit those results electronically to the INEC server. Those results will pop up in real time on Irev. And the whole reason, and this is not me interpreting, this is what the Electoral Act says, and this is what INEC told us. The reason they are doing this, and the reason that it's necessary to do that in real time, is so that later, when the results are carried manually, in car, Okada, flying boat to the collation center and are presented, the paper is presented and collation is being done, the collation officers and the collation agents can confirm that whatever paper they're seeing in front of them, that official result tallies with what was sent by Irev. So by BIVAS to Irev. So Irev is used as the source of truth against which to count and to check the official result. So without that source of truth at the collation center level, at ward, LGA, state, and now national, by what yardstick is INEC comparing those results to confirm that those results were not manipulated? It is a valid question, since INEC told us this is our own method. Our method is to use Irev to compare. Now, Irev went down in my polling unit, so against what is INEC comparing the result that is now being counted as official? And if it wasn't checked at ward collation level, if it wasn't checked at LGA collation level, and it wasn't checked at state collation level, national is the very last bus stop. So why should national just say bow and go?
Bow and go. Joachim, do you have a different view or a similar view?
I don't have a different view, and I wish I did.
Okay.
I wish I could say that Dino Melaye is stark raving mad and should be escorted out of the National Collation Center to cool off. Unfortunately, I cannot say any such thing because I have gone on record several times expressing my cautious optimism about
Joachim?
that cautious optimism.
Okay.
Hear me?
Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you. Joachim? Hello, Joachim? Joachim? All right, doesn't look like we can hear him anymore. Please let's try and get Joachim back on the line. This is for our team who screen the calls. Please call Joachim back. Chief, Dino Melaye raised the point about data integrity, right? And it's the same point that you made here yesterday, I believe. He said that anytime the result wasn't transmitted from the polling unit immediately after voting, there was a risk of compromise. Because like you've said, most people who have spoken on this have said the entire point of BIVAS was to have a real-time time record of voting, against which to compare the collation of result, which comes out much later, with after materials have, like you said, arrived there with Okada and all kinds of other things. If that purpose was defeated, why isn't INEC more concerned about the integrity of the election?
Now, here's where I'm going to be very different from where most commentators, and I know Joachim will, when he gets on, will take this. He will agree with me because I've heard him speak. But most commentators want to like act surprised and brand new, and like, oh, we can't understand why INEC is doing this. Please understand. You don't need to understand. Just cast your mind back. 2015, INEC told us card reader is going to be what will be used to confirm the results. After the issues with card reader on the presidential election day, INEC, for the Guba election, right? INEC said, you know what, we have to just use card reader and card reader only. If your card reader fails at your unit, cancel the election for that day until another card reader comes, and then we'll repeat the election on that day. So INEC said, no card reader, no result. That was the rule for the 2015 governorship election, right? Now, I took part in that election. I was on the campaign team for Dakuku Peter side. I was heading the new media and ICT department. So I handled the polls and all of that and the back end stuff. I built and ran the situation room. Now, in that election, right, we knew the number of polling units where card reader wasn't used, card reader was deactivated, and INEC accredited people manually. They used manual accreditation so that in a polling unit where maybe 100 people, 1,000 people are registered, only 100 people showed up to vote. Now, you can now manually say, no, all 1,000 people showed up and all 1,000 people voted for PDP or the other party. Now, they did that all across the board, right? The party at world level, LGA level, and state level kept raising the alarm. The guideline that INEC gave us has not been followed. INEC made it clear, no card reader, no election. No card reader, no result. No card reader, go have to do a replay. How come that's not happening here? The same INEC people who gave those guidelines simply ignored all the shouting. The matter went to court. Dakuku Peter side went to court. He won at the tribunal, won at the appeal. It went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, yes, INEC gave that instruction. That is entirely correct. INEC did not follow its instruction. That's entirely correct. But you're going to lose this case because card reader is not in the Electoral Act. And it was on that technicality it was thrown out. So anybody who at least was alive and conscious in 2015 should not be shocked that INEC is right now on looking this always once the rule has been slow. I could just look at you as you're there shouting, no, this is not what you told us to do. This is not. And the people there at the situation room, led by the chairman, will always look at you and act like you are ranting like a lunatic, and then they will just rubber stamp whatever was put in front of them. This has always been INEC's way of doing business. So I am surprised that Nigerians are surprised.
So, if this is how INEC has always done business, how do Nigerians get INEC to stop doing business like this?
Eneke the bird, flap, flap. Yeah, if the hunter has learned to shoot without missing, you can learn to fly without perching.
What would that look like?
So, I already saw Nigerians do it this time. In every polling unit where Nigerians told that INEC official, you're not going anywhere until you upload this thing, Nigerians checkmated INEC. Every polling unit where the person said, no, there's no network, and they said, no, we know how you can do send offline, Nigerians checkmated INEC. Every collation center where the agents and the people stood and refused to let INEC change the result, Nigerians stood up to INEC. So I think Nigerians should just see every election, see, there is nothing wrong with saying there's corruption in INEC, because there's corruption in every Nigerian institution. Every single Nigerian government institution has corruption. It doesn't mean everybody in the institution is corrupt. It simply means there's always some corrupt person there, and that some corrupt person will take corrupt action. What we all need to do as citizens is, as it concerns us, we have to think of the methods to checkmate that corruption, but not rely on the goat not to eat the yam.
Don't rely on the goat to not eat the yam. Okay. Joachim, good to have you back on the phone. Joachim is the senior governance analyst at Steers. Joachim, before you left, you were sharing your thoughts on Dino Melaye's complaint that INEC HQ shouldn't be collating results without reference to uploaded results on Irev. And you say that you agree with Dino Melaye, yes?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I do agree, and I agree because the foundation of the trust in the process, as INEC has laid it out, is that you want to reduce the time from the creation of a new election result to the creation of a duplicate that can always be used to check whether the physical copies are correct or not. We want to reduce that time to 0. And the point is, and the reason for that is that if there is any manipulation with the paper ballots, with the paper result sheets, you want to be able to have a check that is electronic, and again in the Electoral Act, it is that electronic record that takes precedence. Now, unfortunately, INEC has failed in its own promise to Nigerians in providing that record that can be used to check against, used to check the veracity of the paper result sheet. And by so doing, in fact, as I speak to you right now, the upload of polling units to Irev is still less than 40%. This is now over 48 hours since polls were supposed to have closed. And this raises so many questions, with regard to the actual, veracity of the results they're going to present, and have already presented, for that matter, because they've done 4 of the 36 states at the National Collation Center. Now the thing is, how does INEC convince Nigerians that these results being presented represent the will of the Nigerian people, based on the anecdotal evidence as well as some of the documented evidence that has come out over the last 48 hours? Their attempts to convince Nigerians will largely fall on deaf ears, unfortunately, because again, the point is people need to have a place to check, and they don't have that now. So much time has passed that anything could have been done to the results before they were uploaded.
What do you think about INEC's reaction to this objection from the party agents? We saw INEC officials telling them to let the process go on, head to the tribunal if they have a problem with it. Was that a satisfactory response for you, Joachim? Chief, I'll come to you with the same question. But Joachim, was that satisfactory for you?
Well, it's not quite satisfactory. Everybody knows that tribunals exist. Everybody knows the processes. Tribunal, then appeal court, then Supreme Court. If you are so inclined, but I'm not sure what that is supposed to do for people who are listening. I don't really know what they hope to achieve. What is clear is that there seems to me to be enough evidence that people are going to go to court. So there'll be a rush of court cases regarding several of these results, and INEC will have its results tied up. Will have its resources tied up, answering court summons and just providing some of that evidence there, just because of the fact that they refused to do, or they were unable to do, the right thing the first time around, as they said they would do. They did a lot of campaigning around the Electoral Act, pushed for this thing, only to have it done, have it signed, and then show that they are not ready for prime time. Essentially, INEC under Mahmoud Yakubu is not ready for prime time, and we are all going to have to deal with the consequences of this one way or the other.
Chief?
Well, I agree. First of all, I agree 100% with everything Joaquin just said. And I want to add something. Could you imagine, Sandra? Could you imagine where if someone was robbing you, right? And you call police, and police say to you, Well, at least there's court. You can go to court. You can sue them for fraud, right? Or can you imagine a situation where you go to court, you're in court, and you're complaining, you're making a complaint, and then the judge says to you, I'm not looking at this thing you're saying, if you like, appeal. That's exactly what INEC has done here. INEC isn't just a party in the election. INEC is there to make sure that the Electoral Act is followed and we have a free and fair election and that the rules are not broken. So when somebody flags a problem and says the law is being broken here, the procedure is not followed here, the last thing I want to hear from the final deciding body in INEC, which is the National Collation Center chaired by Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the last thing I expect to hear from them is, well, if you don't like this, go to the tribunal. Because what they're doing is they're abdicating their responsibility. Their responsibility is not just to confirm whatever result the REC gave them. Because if that's the case, then why does the result have to come to the national? At each step in the INEC hierarchy has the legal right to refuse and reject the result coming to it from the lower rank. So the LGA Collation Center has a right to challenge what's coming from the Ward Collation Center. State Collation Center has a right to reject and question what's coming from the LGA. National has the right to question anything coming from the states. And if parties are shouting that an irregularity, Professor Yakubu, we know you were not there with us in Lagos, we know you were not there with us in Rivers, but this is what we saw, we're reporting it now, Irev was not used. The last thing I expect to hear is, well, you can go to tribunal. I expected to hear, okay, let's go and look into that. But I only expected to hear from that academically because, like I said, anybody who's followed INEC knows that this is what INEC does.
Lagos, if you just tuned in, this is Nigeria Info's Mandate 23. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. I've got two guests on the show with me today, political analyst Andy Obuoforibo, Chief Andy Obuoforibo. I also have senior governance analyst from Steers, Joachim Mac-Ebong. And we are taking a look at the process so far, the elections process so far. We've been bringing you coverage since Saturday, continuing all day today, maybe. But we have a break coming up in a few seconds, and when we return, I'd love to get your thoughts on some of the things that we've discussed in the studio so far, chief of which Dino Melaye's objection at the Collation Center in Abuja. Now, of course, it's not just Dino Melaye. You had other party agents who also joined him, who lent their voice to the complaints that he raised at the Collation Center in Abuja. Now, when we come back from the break, this is something I want to get both your thoughts on, gentlemen. Melaye suggested that there should be two sets of screens at the National Collation Center showing the collated results and the Irev results for comparison. Do you think that this could work? So it's something for you both to think about while we go off on this break. Lagos, when we come back, you'll join the conversation as well. Men will call us on 0700-993-993-993. Women will call us on 01465-7190. We've got WhatsApp 080-959-75805. We're streaming live on Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Nigeria Info. Don't go away.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
There's a huge difference between the relative experience of salary earners and those of business owners and entrepreneurs. Someone who has never had cause to set up a business of his, who has never had cause to source for funds, turn it around, pay salaries, pay back the loan, and still make profit cannot be expected to be hands-on when saddled with an economy the size of Lagos. Experience that hasn't curbed Lagos's traffic in 24 years of their reign. Experience that hasn't addressed Lagos's perennial flood. Experience that currently leaves us with over 2 million out-of-school children. The duo of Jando and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing people with track records of success. Lagos Dr. Jando as governor of Lagos State. People to the people.
Sincerely, I don't want to wait till I graduate from this school. I think of what to do with my life. I would like to be a real presenter, but I don't know how to about it.
But why is Timmy so quiet today?
Sorry, ladies. I'm taking this interesting course on how to become a professional scriptwriter. You too can also learn how to become a radio presenter on Wazobia Academy.
Wazobia Academy?
Yes, Wazobia Academy provides accessible and affordable online training in filmmaking, music business, fashion, radio hosting, and lots more. You also stand a chance to be selected for internship in leading production companies, radio stations, music, and fashion studios for hands-on experience. It's easy. Simply log on to www.wazobiaacademy.com or call 0908-826-5038 for more details.
Wazobia Academy. Learn and lead.
Hey, make una come on. My husband don't do me strong thing, no.
Yeah, Maka.
What's happen? Now my husband buy me life for Valentine, no.
Yeah, Maka. Which soup you give am?
No be soup. Now from Adjournment Home Strong Love promo. As he buy land, they gon' give am 30% discount. Go ahead, microwave, give am join. No be only microwave deal. Some they collect mattress, gas burner, love hamper, cake, even water dispenser. Now only people will enjoy 40% discount. No collect gift.
Yeah, Maka. Microwave. Why you no collect mattress?
Yes, so you say fit show strong love to your loved one this season with Adro Home Strong Love promo. Enjoy 40% discount on 24 months payment plan or 30% discount on 36 months payment plan with Poco gift items. For more Tori, call these numbers
0805-921-0054 or 0803-466-7286.
This promo day from now till 6th of March 2023. Adron Home Strong Love promo. Terms and conditions dey.
Adron Homes, making the incredible affordable. Book a ride on Anaya to move around Lagos. From Lekki to Oshodi, from anywhere to everywhere. Try Anaya and you won't go back to your old ways of moving around Lagos. Hurry and download Anaya app today and get your first ride for free using the promo code First Ride. Anaya, ANAYER. The power to move.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
This is the Monday 23.
The Monday 23.
Live.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Monday 23 from Nigeria Info 99.3. I've got two gentlemen on the show with me, Joaquim Makebong, Senior Governance Analyst from Steers, Chief Andy Obuoforibo, Political Affairs Analyst. And today we're taking a look at everything that has unfolded so far as collation of results are concerned. And before the break, gentlemen, I did say that I wanted to get your thoughts on Melaye's suggestion that there should be two sets of screens at the National Collation Center showing the collated results and the Irev results for comparison. You're the data man. Well, you're both data men, to be honest. But Joaquim, do you think that this could work?
Well, it would have been a great idea, assuming that the full results on Irev were already uploaded to Irev. So if the full results are uploaded to Irev, then of course it makes total sense to use that as a comparison, and also as the way it's uploaded, they are just like how do I say, they are just scanned copies.
Mm-hmm.
They are scanned copies of the result sheet.
Yeah.
So there would have been a way to transfer those scanned copies of result sheet, the photographs. Right. To basically use some kind of optical character recognition or something like that,
right,
to convert them into numbers and then place them next to the various parties,
right,
so that you can have a way to compare the results from the paper result sheets that the state reps are going to be calling out, and then just compare that to the electronic form.
Right.
Now that would have been a great idea. There's only one problem, right?
What?
you are currently at about 40% reporting. So, that is clearly an issue. But otherwise, it would have been a good idea. Unfortunately, like I said before we went on break, INEC is not yet ready for prime time. And I think that by the time all this is said and done, INEC needs to take a very long, hard look at itself.
We say that at the end of every election. Every 4 years, we say that, I don't even know what my question here is. INEC seems to have shown that they are unable to take a look at their internal processes. They seem to take one step forward and 7 steps backwards. They every 4 years they come with some tech that is supposed to be revolutionary, and then almost don't commit all the way to the tech to enable the tech to be revolutionary. So what's going on there? Why does it appear that they are unable to take a look inside and get ready for prime time?
What's going on is the human beings involved. It's not the technology. The technology is fine. It works fine. But when you're dealing with human beings who can be compromised, human beings who can be incompetent, human beings who, may have one bias or one motivation or the other. I mean, like on election day, as at 10 p.m., there was not a single upload to Irev.
True.
Of the presidential election results. True. Those uploads only began from about 10:30, 10:35. And here we are, right, going on 48 hours plus later, and we are only at 40%. So this is not a technical glitch. It's not a technical glitch. People have invested a lot in trying to essentially frustrate this process, and it looks like they are winning. And so for somebody who has been told, go get your register to vote, get your PVC, come out and vote, don't worry, it's just a few hours. Don't waste. Don't allow a few hours to ruin in your next 4 years or 8 years and so on and so forth. All of those entreaties, all those campaigns, all of those things, all the shouting on social media and on radio, it now begins to feel hollow, and I think that we really need to choose the nation that we want to be, essentially.
Chief.
So I think there are like 2 or 3 questions in there now.
Yeah, so just pick anyone.
So yeah,
or pick all 3.
Okay. So on the matter of the screens, I agree with Joachim and with Dino Melaye that there has to be a way at the National Center to show those Irev results, right? And so that at the drop of a hat, based on the challenge, they can be compared. I take and I agree with Joachim's point that the part of the problem though is that the results have to be there in the first place. But here's what it is though. If there are no results on Irev to show, shouldn't that automatically make the National Center reject the result? So I want a situation where at the National Collation Center, as they're talking about Lagos State, right? There should at least be a dashboard for Professor Yakubu, showing that of the 10,000 polling units in Lagos, maybe let's say 40% of them have uploaded Irev, right? Then let it show him that so of the 10,000 units, only 4,000 have an Irev upload, 6,000 don't have Irev. And then at that point, Professor Yakubu will say, but how can you have a result without Irev? So at least I know that at least in 60% of the states, there can't be a result. Go back. So even without looking at the content of the result, the fact that the result doesn't exist yet on the server is a problem, and the INEC chairman should have visibility on that and be able to take that, use that actionably to send the result back. That's one. Now, in terms of why is it that INEC comes time after time, I agree 100% with Joachim that you have those within INEC who are simply not incentivized to do the right thing, or are actually incentivized to do the wrong thing. You cannot wake up somebody who is pretending to be asleep, who is paid to be asleep, right? And there are lots of things there are a lot of assumptions about things that we don't question in Nigeria. So every so often, every 5 years or whatever it is, when we pick a new INEC chairman, it's always a professor, right? When every 4 years, when INEC is doing elections, returning officers are always professors, lecturers, other academics. And this is a holdover from decades ago where they say, well, professors are the most respected people in the society, so they are the best. They are impartial, and they are, honorable men and scholars, and they are above all these other issues. So they will come and do the right thing. But Sandra, all of us live in Nigeria. This is the Nigeria of sex for grades. Who are the people who are extorting young girls for sex in exchange for grades? Lecturers, professors. So this is the Nigeria of money for grades. Who are the people extorting students to pay them? If not, they will fail them. It's lecturers. This is the Nigeria of handouts. Who are the people illegally collecting money for handouts? It's lecturers. I grew up on the university campus, and when I was a kid, my father and the other fellow professors, they were scandalized. I remember once, it was like in the 80s, they found out that one lecturer was doing handouts and collecting money, and all of them were scandalized, and the man was probed and everything, But now, it has, in fact, I'm sure many of your listeners are confused because they went through university at a time when it was assumed that handouts was a normal thing to do. That is how rotten the universities are. But yet, year after year, we bring people from the universities to officiate our elections based on a decades-old idea that they will be more honorable than the rest of society.
But where are we going to find honorable people?
You will need to stop looking for honorable people. That's the first thing. So look at the American system, for example.
Okay.
The American system simply assumes everybody is biased. So at all levels, what they do is, in that case, because they have two major parties, the two major parties have a right to appoint or nominate an equal number of people to oversee an election.
Yes.
They do it that way because Ojoro will cancel Ojoro.
Yes.
They don't buy into this idea that there's some saint you will bring from somewhere that will officiate the election. So that's one. That's within. Then now, from outside, right? Nigerians have to outgrow the idea that if you leave government alone to its own devices, government will, out of the goodness of its heart, do the right thing for you. There is nothing that we get in this country from government that we don't get out of government being afraid of us. The reason why we have some results uploaded on Irev and that some results were uploaded on Irev on Saturday on time was that people at the polling units refused to let INEC do the wrong thing. So what we should be thinking about, right, when we're talking about, because now, after this election, the conversation will now switch to what further reforms does INEC need? While I am all in favor of more technology for most things, except for actual voting, while I'm in favor of technology for most things, I also believe that the bigger and more important and more critical reform is laws that open up all of INEC's processes, so that at every step of the way there is more public scrutiny, more ability of the public to cry foul, flag something, and stop INEC. Because we just can't keep going on with this system where at every stage INEC is the only one with the legal right to do anything. We're seeing how it goes wrong. We also need to leverage technology in better ways. Technology has to be leveraged to have visibility of the entire election at the same time. And then we put milestones for INEC. So let me give you an example. Elections are supposed to start at 8:30, right? INEC is supposed to be at polling units by 8. What if we have enshrined in the Electoral Act and the guidelines of INEC that we have all agreed on a social compact with INEC that you need to be at a certain percentage of your polling units by such and such time, by that 8 o'clock. Let's say 70%. Then we now need a national dashboard, a portal, just like Irev, whereas the INEC polling unit officers come and sign in. As they arrive, they sign in, they clock in, and we can all see.
Right.
So we no longer have where there are reports of where we are hearing that. Let us all have clear visibility, and let those deliverables be under law usable to hold Mahmoud Yakubu or whoever is there next to account. So what percentage of your people arrived at the polling unit in time? At what percentage of polling units did you start election in time? At what percentage of polling units did you transmit results electronically on time? And when you fail to do that, what was the remediation? The remediation has to be clear cut, enshrined, and enforced, and we should have visibility that it's being enforced. And collation centers should not be locked away. The public should be in the collation centers. The public should be there. It should be televised. The media should be there.
Because in other countries, the public is there.
Yes, and you see this thing of, don't accept any result until it is officially announced from INEC. It is unworkable in a society with as much corruption as Nigeria. Because time and again, we have seen INEC results overturned INEC does not even have a, like, if you see the success rate of cases that go to tribunal, that shows you that INEC has an institutional problem with conducting free and fair elections. So until we get to that Uhuru where INEC can be trusted, we should not be accepting that INEC is the sole arbiter to announce official results. In countries with better electoral system, the media has a right to say this is the result we're seeing at the polling unit, and it becomes part of the public domain. It can be used. Now, that's not the official result. Official result comes days later, like in America. But even on the day of election, based on the media report, people are conceding election and claiming victory because there's an acceptance that, look, the media is not coming there to lie. We want this thing to be done out in the open, and it is in the public interest to get a result out into the open as quickly as possible.
And this is even in countries where media are allowed to have political leanings.
Yes, where media, even their biases are open and in public, yet they are allowed to announce results. But here we're still behaving like it's under the military, and nobody is questioning it. The average Nigerian doesn't question. But I think finally, to the point that Joaquin made about how this may dampen the spirits of Nigerians, I agree. But at the same time, I'm also seeing that Nigerians are refusing to be discouraged. I'm seeing that Nigerians, what they did at those polling units, what they're doing now, I have a feel like, see, Nigerians, my appeal to Nigerians is this: in any system, you can always expect corruption from the government. You can always expect the government or people within government to try and trick you in some way. What you need to do is learn, adapt, and go. You've now seen what happens at the polling unit with Irev. You're voting again 2 weeks from now. When you vote 2 weeks from now, remember that if there is no network and the Irev the BIVAS cannot transmit, the INEC official, they are duty bound to do offline transmission, send offline. When they do send offline, they can no longer change the picture, the result on that BIVAS machine. So whenever that BIVAS machine comes back on, it will automatically send that result to Irev. So even if there's no network, insist that they send offline. That simple thing alone, and insist they do it at the polling unit. You have now learnt. They tricked you the first time. Don't let them trick you the second time.
Okay. Let me come to the phone lines now. Lagos has been calling for a while. 0700-993-993-993. That's for men. Women, call us on 01465-7190. 01465-7190. 0700-993-993-993. Hello. Thanks for calling us.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon.
Joachim.
Welcome. What's your name, sir? Abenigo. Welcome.
I just wish it more backing, and the fact that the INEC chairman kept on shutting him down and the other people who came to support was not fair, because I think that's one thing that would cause a big issue. But now my issue is, if Chief is saying that they've tricked us the first time, we should learn the second time. I don't know. The most important one that we didn't want to be tricked for is the one that has happened. Why do I need to learn the second time? I mean, if you don't beat me once, just cuckoo beat me the second time. Man, no say you don't win everywhere.
All right, thank you very much for calling. 99.3, hello.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Izekwesili.
Welcome, Ikechuku.
Sister, I greet you and I greet your two guests. They are fucking my life and my mind. Why is it INEC too quick now? They are still collecting results. They are telling us to go to court. And is it that Abracadabra, what did they do? This one, no, they go to this one, and Nigerians will decide. No, because go decide for us. For me, I don't get the court for Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for calling. 99.3.
Sandra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name, sir?
Good job for your people since Saturday. May God give it the strength.
Thank you. What's your name, sir?
We are fighting for a better Nigeria.
Okay.
And the new Nigeria is possible, Sandra.
Okay.
So what I believe, let everybody calm down. I love the gifts you have today. I think Chief Obo there.
Chief Andy.
Okay, yeah. I love all of them are good. They are technocrats.
Okay.
So added to you and a member of the crew of Nigeria Info. This is Kingsley from Ikorodu.
Kingsley, thank you very much for calling. Oh, I thought you were done there. 99.3.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Sandra, I'm praising these two men that are with you.
You're praising them?
Yes,
Okay.
because they are saying the reality.
Okay.
There is no court in Nigeria. Where will we go? Where will we start? But we pray that God will help us in whatsoever we do. I am Prince Akasa.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. 99.3. Hello. Sorry about that. Give us a call back if you can. Let me go very quickly to WhatsApp where we have a few messages. Romeo from Awoya says, I will never vote again in my life. The way the media was giving us hope, the BIVAS is the game changer, especially Madam Sandra. That the results were going to be transmitted in the polling unit. But today, that's not the case. They told us that they were going to upload results from polling unit, but today it was just a lie. Romeo from Awoya. You know, I have heard this sentiment, from Romeo over and over. You gave us a lot of hope. You made us believe that, it was going to be different this time. That was why we all trooped out in our numbers. Oh, I'm not going to do this again. I will never vote again. Do you think that that's a fair response to everything that has happened so far? And I'll come to Joachim with that question first, and then I'll come back to you, Chief. Joachim?
Yes, thank you, Sandra. See, I would like to appeal to Nigerians. I need to appeal to Nigerians to maintain their desire to fight for a better country. And the reason why I need to appeal to Nigerians is this. There is nowhere you are trying to do the kinds of things you are trying to do. So greater transparency, fairer and more representative electoral outcomes that eventually lead to better governance without undergoing some of the hitches that we are currently undergoing. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We just have to resolve to among ourselves, so no more Nigerians like us, to resolve to fight and to say that, okay, even though this issue now, has turned out like this, we will learn the lessons that we need to learn and then go into the next elections, understanding what the issues are, and then also understanding how we can go around those issues. The governorship elections are very, 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 very important. There are going to be 28 governorship races on March 11. There will be another 3 in November. Now, if Nigerians successfully get a better than average crop of governors, their lives could change immeasurably for the better. So I want to appeal to Nigerians. I understand the frustration. I understand the annoyance. I understand some of the broken promises with regard to INEC. But Andy has just given a very important way around that. That is to insist on offline transmission before the polling unit officers leave that polling unit. They must transmit that result offline. And once you insist on it and they do it, then you can be fairly certain that it will be much more difficult to change. Now, if Nigerians get even 10 or 12 good governors of the 28 that we are going to elect on March 11, their lives could change significantly. So I want to appeal to the last caller and to other people who feel like that. Please and please do not give up. Please come out. Please engage with the political process. Engage with the system such as it is. Because if you do not, we are just going to leave the space to these same people, and then we'll continue to come on Hard Facts and other shows saying the same thing over and over again. Let us talk about something different for once. So, for example, instead of talking about where we're having ASU strike, we can talk about something better like improving teacher quality, for example, knowing that strikes are no longer on the table. But we need to move from one level, from the last level of existence to maybe like the second or the third ladder. But we can't do that if we don't have much better governance across board. And we still have a big chance, a very big chance on March 11. We must take it. We must realize what the potential for change in our country is, and we must take advantage of that. And please, what Andy has just said about the offline transmission of the results from BIVAS really should be broadcast to every single radio station everywhere in this country, because we desperately need that information. If not, we should show that we have learned from what has happened on Saturday, and result is not going to happen again.
Okay, all right. That's the interesting thing. BIVAS, without all of the human parts of this process, BIVAS was actually a game changer. It actually was. It made the process faster. People were accredited on time, were able to vote on time. If the collation officers were, just a bit more motivated to stick with the process, which was accredit, vote, transmit, we wouldn't even be having these conversations that we're having at the moment. Chief, we've got less than a minute, I have a feeling that's not going to be enough time for you to share your thoughts on these feelings that we're getting from some Nigerians about the entire process. However, when we come back from a break, I will come back to you because I want to hear your thoughts on people who say, oh, this was a waste of my time, I'm not going to vote again, especially considering that we have very important, more important than the presidential, governorship elections coming up in 28 states across Nigeria. Do we have time to take a message on social media? No, we don't. So we'll take a break. When we come back from this break, we'll bring you business news. After the business news, I will come back to my guests on the show. I have with me senior governance analyst at Steers. I also have with me political affairs analyst Chief Andy Obuoforibo. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Mandate 23 brought to you by Nigeria Info 99.3. Don't go away.
There is a huge difference between the relative experience of salary earners and those of business owners and entrepreneurs. Someone who has never had cause to set up a business of his, who has never had to source for funds, turn it around, pay salaries, pay back the loan, and still make profit cannot be expected to be hands-on when saddled with an economy the size of Lagos. Experience that hasn't curbed Lagos's traffic in 24 years of their reign. Experience that hasn't addressed Lagos's perennial flood. Experience that currently leaves us with over 2 million out-of-school children. The duo of Jandor and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing peoples with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jandor as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
If you're wondering how I keep up with my groove, I stay hydrated even when I'm on the move. I don't go let anything weigh me down cause I'm on the go. So have you refreshed and gingered with seaway water? Oh yeah, make you drink more water. Drink more water. And mind your business. Mind your business. Seaway for every family, live life to the fullest. Make you drink more water. Drink more water. And mind your business. Mind your business. Seaway for every family, live life to the fullest.
You can do more when you're healthy and hydrated. Drink Seaway. Available in 75 cl, 150 cl, and dispenser water. Available in all stores and supermarkets near you. Always choose the water you can trust. Seaway for every family.
Aha, whether na cash or transfer. Money na money. Once the other person don't collect, transaction complete, case closed. Money na money. If cash not there, do transfer. Use ATM, USSD, POS, QR code. If it use Naira, money na money, case closed. Whether you dey buy yourself, money na money. Once the other person don't collect, transaction complete, case closed.
As Central Bank of Nigeria don't announce change of currency, make we no panic oh. Whether you want pay or you dey collect money, different options full ground oh. In case cash no dey available, you fit use mobile app, internet banking, ATM, POS, USSD, QR code, Naira and others dem take do your transaction. And if you no get bank account, visit your bank, make them open am for you. Make you no panic oh. Last, all of us go dey alright. This message now from Bankers Committee.
This is what goodness tastes like. Golden caramel, creamy butter.
Introducing Cadbury Caramel Candy, Cadbury Coffee, and your favorite Cadbury Buttermint candies. Now there's lots more to share and enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's a Cadbury candy for every moment.
With stories from the hearts of Africans across the continent, News Central puts Africa first on DSTV channel 422. This is where the continent's news, politics, business, sports, entertainment, lifestyle, and more come alive.
It is our right to fight for justice for this continent.
Follow us at News Central TV on all socials. Also visit our website www.newscentral.africa. News Central TV on DSTV channel 422. Africa first.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Let's go over to Abuja first, where the National Collation Center has reopened. I'm seeing a few agents with questions for Mahmood Yakubu. You're listening to Monday 23 on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Values the integrity of our system. But when there are doubts, it's important we all come up on one page. Sir, the desire of most Nigerians is that this process should be seen as free, fair, and transparent. I have been in contact with several agents of our parties across the country. Now, the fact is that results uploaded from polling units in a number of states are not what is being collated. Now, we've had incidents of hijack, we've had incidents of result writing, we've had incidents of manipulation. It makes sense that we interrogate these processes so that we, at this point, if a result is collected and we accept that those results are okay, then it's good to go. If we do not interrogate this process at this point, then it means that our business here has undermined the process. Mr. Chairman, I plead with you to appreciate the point we've raised and give some time to look at this so that the integrity is sustained. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to actually refer the Commission because we have so much confidence. We, from the political parties, we have so much confidence in your leadership. And we know, as a matter of fact, we've been engaged with a lot of quarterly meetings. We have discussed a lot. And we believe you want to give Nigerians the best. And the greatest thing you can do for us is, at the end of the day, let Nigerians, the votes that Nigerians casted be what will be declared. I am very much aware that Section 65 of the Electoral Act, I know this commission has powers for review. If there are states, for instance, where there are discrepancies, I know Section 65, subsection C, that has to do with declaration of scores of candidates and the return of a candidate, provided that the commission shall have the powers within 7 days to review the declaration and return where the commission determines that the said declaration and return was not made voluntarily or was made contrary to the provisions of the law, regulations and guidelines, and the manual for election. Sir, please hearken to the cry and the voice of political parties, which I know and we trust you. Don't look at any pressure. We know you can handle this. After all, when forces were trying to remove you as INEC chairman, we stood by you. And we believe you can give Nigerians the best. If there are areas where there are discrepancies, I know you have the powers to review. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Nkem Okando, agent for ADC. Mr. Chairman, I've actually listened to my colleagues, and I want to urge and plead. Since it is obvious that the results, most of them have not been uploaded on the polling unit according to the electoral law that we just read, I want to appeal that we adjourn this session to maybe 24 hours to enable the state people, the state collation officers, to upload all their polling unit results so that we can proceed. Thank you.
Good day, Mr. Chairman. I still represent APP. Chinemeluba is my name. It is surprising that political parties who are supposed to be fighting now are in unison saying the same thing. Not just surprising, but fundamental. There is no point progressing in error, Mr. Chairman. We are racing to nowhere. This election started on Saturday. Today is almost over. I insist, in line with my colleagues here, that we get it right. Let us get it right before we proceed with the collation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dino Melaya, PDP. Mr. Chairman, they said the voice of the people is the voice of God. Those of us who spoke from this angle are representatives of the political parties that participated in this election. And it is only responsible for INEC to listen to us. When you made your presentation earlier, you made it look as if agents are just here to rubber stamp whatever the returning officers are presenting. Because you said you passed that stage, it's at the stage of ward polling units, but the provisions of Section 65 have already mandated you, because you are also a returning officer in this election. It's just the difference is that they are returning officers from the states and you are returning results for the presidential election. And the provision of Section 65 is very, very unambiguous and is clear. And it is that you have the power and capacity to review results here. And you cannot review results if there are no agitation of infractions from the political parties. And that is what we are saying. That we cannot move forward except the law is respected, except the promise you made to Nigerians. I have just done a little research. You have promised Nigerians 68 times that BIVAS will work. And my brother, Barrister Festus Okoye, after I checked using Google machine, I promised Nigeria 118 times that BIVAS will work. We want to see it work and working by going to the portal to see all these results. It worked in Edo, it worked in Osun, it must work in this presidential election. We cannot proceed with computation or collation of results when we cannot see. The confidence we have in this Electoral Act is the introduction of the electronic transmission of results. If that is not done, then there is no difference between what we are doing now and what we did in 2015, because what you are doing is practical manual collation. That means the billions of taxpayers' money, including mine, that was spent on the issue of BIVAS and transmission of electronic results is wasted. And we should not be wasters. We want a categorical response on this issue of uploading results. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, My name is Nze Frank White. I represent the APP. Mr. Chairman, last Saturday, Nigerians trooped out in their mass, in millions, because of the confidence that the electronic transmission of results put in them. They came out and, it was so massive that so many of them left what they're supposed to do. Those days of playing football in the streets, we are not seen on Saturday. Mr. Chairman, the integrity of this process will stand undermined if the electronic transmission that my colleagues here have requested is not guaranteed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First, I will seek a clarification. Do we speak as individuals or we speak for the parties? A situation where two persons are speaking on behalf of a party. I speak for APC, and I would not think, after I've spoken for APC, my colleague should also get up to say he's also speaking for APC. We are not, in my opinion, in a debate. I will also correct the impression when it was said that the political parties are in unison. We are not in unison with, excuse me, Mr. Senator Melaye and Right Honorable, with all respect, kindly let me speak. We are not in unison with them. A lot of law has been procured, preferred, and quoted here, most especially Section 65, which says the Commission shall have the powers. These powers have been conferred on the Commission by statute, and it is the discretion of the Commission to exercise its powers as it deems fit, and not whether we demand it or we want to proclaim or dictate it. Secondly, sir, the same section has gone further that a decision of the returning officer under subsection 1 may be reviewed by an election tribunal. And I think if we are not satisfied, like has been rightly said, the whole world is watching this process. We should let the process run its course. Like has been rightly observed, there were elections in other places, some of which have been contested in the courts. Why is this being made to be different? Let the results be presented. And just to add, that the provision of Section 66, subsection 4, that is now being misrepresented here, says upload from polling units. But we are not here to debate whether it was uploaded or not. That cannot be reviewed here. So my appeal is for the Commission to proceed with its constitutional duty and make the results available. If we are not satisfied, we will approach the election tribunal. And that is all we are praying for. Like we said, the whole world is watching us. I appeal, sir, Mr. Chairman, that you proceed and do the needful and exercise the powers conferred on you by both the Constitution and the Electoral Act, and let us have the results so we can take necessary steps as we may deem fit. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, any more?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. My name is Zafanaya Gisalo. I represent NRM. Mr. Chairman, I've been in the parliament to also make the law and also make the Electoral Act. Like my senior colleague said, Emeka Edoha. The law is there. The act is there. And just like the Section 65 have said, the power is given to the INEC to conduct its election. And election process had been laid down from the polling unit, which all of us went around to vote. And then after they are counted, the BIVAS were there to know the number of people, the agents were there, now the collation to the vote collection center. Everything was tight. The agents were there to see what all was done at the polling unit. And from there, the process is also there to go to the local government headquarters. This thing were done, and then subsequently move to the ward, move to the state. And in the state level, all these things were checked. And I don't think there was any problem. Other, all these things have been addressed right from there. Coming here to talk on this issue, we are contrary to some of the agents that have said whatever they mean, we should not derail this transition. We should not derail to deceive Nigerians on what is happening. What has come here is the right thing that has been done.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Clement Ojukwu. I represent Labour Party. Sir, this is democracy, and we have spoken on behalf of our people. As you have promised Nigerians before today that our votes are going to count. In addition to that, you told us, or you told Nigerians, that our result will be valid electronically. It's not much amount of you to fulfill this. That is the you of your supreme powers. Tell them you are not a military officer, but you are a leader of democracy in this country. Please kindly do the needful by telling the collation officers from the state to first tell us how these results were transmitted before now. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, please.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, my name is Bame Vidieno, the agent for Young Progressives Party, YPP. I don't want to be seen to be taking sides on the side of anybody, but on the side of the law. I want to state that this is a fifth level of collation. The first was at the polling unit, then at the ward collation center, then local government collation center, then the state collation center before coming to this collation center, which is the fifth. And I think if there was any issue that should have been raised concerning transmission of results or whatever, they would have been tackled at those stages by our agents, which we had at all the various levels. I think what we are doing here is not in tandem with what ought to be done. I think that this process should be allowed to go, since we couldn't tackle whatever problems, issues we had at the earlier levels. Then if this process is concluded, we have the election petition tribunals that could handle whatever problems that are being raised here. I think the INEC at this stage now, should be allowed to go on with the collation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Chairman, can I make a quick remark?
Jack.
Chairman, please.
This is...
No, I know I'm not a politician and I don't intend to be one. But we all have a stake and we all have a voice. Let me appeal to our politicians, respected individuals, to please calm down. The soul of this nation is in this hall today. And any individual that inflames this nation and create chaos, history will not forgive you. I appeal to you all. Every one of you have a very important point, and you have laid it out. Please, I don't also think in the Electoral Act that politicians have a right to stop this process. I don't like what has happened as an individual, but let's respect the law and let the law take its course. And you have every right to challenge the outcome. Please, my brother Dino and everybody maker, please, on behalf of the entire nation, we are please asking you please to calm down. Let us have this process, and then we, civil society, will back you and challenge whatever it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have heard everything that you have said, but I'm going to comment on 3 issues. The first one, which was the starting point of all this lengthy conversation, is over the allegation of overvoting in the result presented yesterday from Ekiti State. What is overvoting? Where the total number of votes cast is higher than the number of accredited voters. Based on the original of the document signed by party agents at state level and the spreadsheet before me, there was no overvoting in Ekiti State. The total number of accredited voters is 315,058. That is what is on the authentic document. Any other figure that shows anything at variance with this did not emanate from the Commission. We provided a detailed breakdown of the scores by political parties across the board. Towards the end of the spreadsheet, we provided 3 columns. The first column is total valid votes. And that is 308,171. Total rejected votes, 6,301. Total votes cast, valid or rejected, is 314,472, which is actually lower than 315,058. Let me recap. Total number of accredited voters, 315,058. Total votes cast, both valid and invalid, is 314,472. There is no overvoting. When you compare the total number of votes cast and the number of accredited voters, if there is anything, you may actually say that there was undervoting, not overvoting. So that is my response to the first issue raised. And I repeat myself once again for clarity. if there is any figure different from what I have presented and what came from the manual forms completed by the State Collation Officer for the presidential election from Ekiti State, please discountenance that figure. It did not emanate from the Commission. I saw some postings on the social media to the effect that the Ekiti election result was published on the 20th of February, 5 days ahead of the election. And what is the evidence? They took the result presented yesterday and took the total number of registered voters for Ekiti State and concluded that the results were prepared several days before the election. All Nigerians will bear me witness that here in this hall, we presented the hard copies of the total number of registered voters in Nigeria on state-by-state basis and the number of PVCs collected. And that information, as we speak, is on the Commission's website. So if anybody is trying to be clever by half, by taking figures from somewhere and saying, oh, this
back to back of the biggest talk.
It's just a general attitude to environmental laws. You know, mechanics, food sellers. One of the reasons why I believe you have so much traffic is because the environmental laws are not enforced, the traffic laws are not enforced, and that has led to complete chaos in the state.
On your number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info.
It's 2 minutes alphabets and African names with Auntie Norma.
Hello, boys and girls. It's Tuesday and it's time for adventure. My name is Auntie Norma. What's yours? Fantastic. Great to be with you. We've been through the alphabet and haven't we met some exciting characters? Can you remember some of them? I can remember Haruna riding his horse up the hill. Can you say this little tongue twister with me? Haruna's happy horse. Now try and say it faster and faster. See how many rounds you can do without getting your tongue in a twist. Haruna's happy horse. 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 And how about Joke and Jide? Remember their love for jam and jelly? Can you try saying this tongue twister about them? Joke and Jide eat jam and jelly. Joke and Jide eat jam and jelly. Joke and Jide eat jam and jelly. Well, I think I'll settle for some akara balls with Aki and Ada. Listen to this. 5 akara balls at Mama Put's canteen.
5 akara balls at Mama Put's canteen. Round and fat with some pepper on the top. Along came a boy with a copper one day. Took an akara ball and he took it away.
Akara balls are lovely, tasty and great with some ogi and pap. Better go and get some. Join me tomorrow as we remember a few more characters from our book of alphabet and African names. Bye-bye.
Who is the greatest I beg to differ debater? We've had 4 tournaments and crowned 4 champions.
My name is Samita Kaushik. My name is Ruth Okorocha. My name is Zawadi Esa. My name is Fibia Chibdu.
We've had 4 runners-up who gave them a run for the 1 million naira.
My name is Nadi Emanuela Amarachi. I'm Deborah Pamzad.
My name is Hamid Olarojan.
My name is Stephanie Ame.
We've had other great debaters who wowed Lagos.
My name is Obuna Uchaguzi.
I'm Oladbo Ramadan Alai.
I am Musa Nicola. My name is Olai Tolwala Sheikh.
So to crown the best of the best,
I believe the group of us should be the group A. You think so? Yeah, the group A.
And answer all your who would beat who questions,
Nah, this is group A. People there, they're already on the hot seat.
we're bringing them all back. One winner, 2 million naira. It's the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. From Monday, March 6th to Monday, April 10th, the 12 best secondary school debaters from all 4 editions will battle for all the bragging rights. Airing weekdays at 4. Join me, Sandra Ezekwesili, your moderator on 99.3 Nigeria Info FM, and later on Wazobia Max TV. This segment is brought to you by Paystack, supported by Wazobia Max TV, RLG Communications, and obiwizi.com. For sponsorship opportunities, send an email to ibegtodiffer@nigeriainfo.fm.
Moves must be made. My people just to work hard. Dreams and challenges motivate us. But sometimes, when the journey gets tiring, all we need is something to push our limits.
Reactor, ignite your energy, bring out your inner champion. Reactor, ignite your energy, bring out your inner champion.
Reactor Energy Drink. What you need to push your limits.
Reactor energy, push your limits. No get tired. No way, Reactor energy drink.
Reactor. Push your limits.
Hello, Mrs. Martins.
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Johnson, how may I help you?
Junior's body temperature is high and he's complaining about headaches and body aches.
Not to worry. Get Bruston and suspension.
Okay, ma. I'll call you back.
Bruston and Suspension for Children is a sweet-tasting brand of ibuprofen which provides relief against toothache, pains, and fever in children after 30 minutes.
Hello, ma. Oh, Junior, stop that.
Is everything okay, Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, ma. Junior is fine now. In fact, Junior, sorry, ma. I'll call you back.
Bruston and Suspension for Children. Always take the product after meal. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. A quality product from Rambaxay.
In an effort to reduce overcrowding and ensure stress-free voting experience on election day, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has moved voters from overcrowded polling units to less congested ones within the same location. All eligible voters can visit cvr.inecnigeria.org/VVS or voters.inecnigeria.org to confirm the polling unit where their names appear on the voters register to vote on election day. Also note that the list of eligible voters in each of the 176,846 polling units will be physically displayed at each polling unit nationwide before the day of election. INEC is therefore encouraging all eligible voters to verify their polling unit using the various options before they go and vote on election day. This message is brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC and the Center for Democracy and Development CDD, with support from the Osiwa Africa Foundation.
Everyone is at the table for lunch. Mom is bringing in the jollof rice, and then...
John!
Sorry, Mom.
Hello? Can I order some jollof rice to be delivered?
Mama saves the day. Lunch is here.
Mom, I got some Coke too.
Just come and eat, Joe.
Cook up memorable moments because family lunch and an ice cold Coke make a recipe for wonder. Coca-Cola, real wonder.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
This is the Mondays 23.
The Mondays 23.
Live.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. You're listening to Nigeria Info's Monday 2023. We had to take that break. However, let me bring you the response of Mahmoud Yakubu to all the complaints that we were listening to right before that break.
Published or released ahead of the election, that one can only pass for fake news. And I'm sure that we are responsible citizens not to fall for fake news. So my first response is that for the election results presented for Ekiti, there was no overvoting. Overvoting means the total number of votes cast is higher than the number of accredited voters. The number of accredited voters is in this particular case higher than the total number of votes cast. So that's my first response. My second response is, are the figures consistent from what transpired at the polling units and what was uploaded or ought to have been uploaded to the Irev portal? I am satisfied that the figures on this spreadsheet emanated from the process that transpired at the polling units. The polling units are the only places where citizens vote. Whatever you do thereafter is just collation of result. And we have provided the vote scored by each political party. However, if any political party believes that the figures they have from the hard copies of the results given by their polling agents at the level of collation, that the figures are inconsistent with what has been provided on the spreadsheet that we projected yesterday, I would like that political party to forward the information to the Commission so that we can speak on the basis of facts. I like the suggestion made that the Commission has power under the Electoral Act to review results, but that power is contingent upon one procedure. The process has to be concluded first before you can then talk about power to review. I want to assure political parties that any evidence that you have of any alleged wrongdoing at any level of the process, whether it's at the polling unit or at collation level, please forward this information. And I promise you, as soon as the process is concluded, we will then do the review as provided by law. On this note, I beg you for us to proceed with the process. Thank you very much.
Professor Mahmood Yakubu speaking there. At the end of that speech, Dino Melayo walked out of the room. So did Emeka Ihedioha and a few other party agents. However, they're currently announcing the presidential election results from Ogun State. At the moment, the APC has 341,554 votes, NMPP 2,200 votes, PDP 1,023, 831 votes, LP 85,829. Let me take you back to Abuja, where collation is ongoing.
4, 4, 8, 6, 1, 1, 4, 4, 8. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Prof. and Scope for Ogun State. Were there places where election was not held or the outcome of the election cancelled?
There were places where we have cancellation. They have been compiled. The respective forms, which is EC 40G, was filled. During the state collation exercise yesterday, they were all displayed. And the reasons for the cancellation ranges from overvoting. There are some that voters refuse to use the BIVAS. And also there are some that was disruption, which probably some thugs came, but they did not cut away with any election material in any of our polling stations throughout Ogun State.
Okay, thank you very much, Party agents, any comments or observations to the scope? Okay, please submit your result.
Thank you, sir.
At the moment, the presentation of the results ongoing. At the moment, you've got Mahmoud Yakubu receiving those results from the returning officer from Ogun State. So again, we have 341,554 votes for the APC presidential election in Ogun State, 85,829 votes.
Thank you very much, Scope.
Let's go back to Abuja.
The original handwritten completed from ECAD has been duly countersigned by agents of political parties present during state collation in Abeokuta. Thank you. Thank you, BC. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I wish you a safe journey. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Collation Secretariat, which state is next? Ramon, resolution. No, it's and there is another state also. So I read on forward, I'll go to the collation officer. Please,
This Resident Electoral Commissioner of your state.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I am Professor Olushola Babatunde Kehinde, the Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and the State Collation Officer for the presidential election in Oyo State. Thank you, sir. For the presidential election that held on the 25th of February, 2023, we have the following as the results of the election. 1, the total number of registered voters in Oyo State. Total number of registered voters, 3276,675. 3276,675. Total number of accredited voters, 854,439. 854,439. The total number of votes received by the presidential candidate of each of the political parties are as follows. Party A, 39514. 39514. Party AA, 1124. 1124. Party AAC, 1153. 1153. 53. ADC 6080. ADC 6080. ADP 2298. 2298. APC 449884. 449884. APGA 1368. 1368. APM 462. 462. APP 1985. 1985. BP 363. LP 99110. 99110. NNPP 4095. 4095. NRM 659. 659. PDP 182977. 182977. PRP 433. 433. SDP 14517. 14517. YPP 572. 572. ZLP 2891. 2891. Total valid votes 809485. 809485. Rejected votes 42471. 42471. Total votes cast. Total votes cast 851956. 851956. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Scope. Were there places why elections did not hold or cancelled?
Yes, sir. Elections were cancelled in 17 polling units in 14 registration areas.
Reason?
Overvoting, sir. And the total number of cancelled votes were 7363. 7363.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments, observations, suggestions? Okay, thank you very much. Please step forward to present your result.
Again, a recap of the results from Oyo APC: 449,884. Labour Party: 99,110. NMPP: 4,095. PDP: 182,977. So APC wins Oyo in the presidential race. Chief is still in the studio with me. Chief, you heard the INEC chairman's response to all the complaints he got from the different party agents about the collation process. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think on the issue here, I really want to support the others in the country. So what was raised was to his election was he has a veto from one resolution. He all means so that means anyone who he chair and so on. The was a big mission to review all the 9 projects as we have to end up on part review. I said part review and only how officer. No, I don't want a no, stop. He had that power, and you don't have to wait for the process to end to exercise that power. And he's choosing not to, and he very cleverly did not address that. So that was not satisfactory for me personally.
Okay, well, head back to Abuja, the National Collation Center. We've got new results in the building. Let's hear what these ones are.
State Collation Officer for the presidential election of 25 February 2023 in Yobe State. With me is Ibrahim Abdullahi, the resident electoral commissioner for Yobe State. The result for the presidential election held on 25th February 2023 in Yobe State are as follows. Total number of registered voters, 1485146. Total number of registered voters, 1485146. Total number of accredited voters, 398874. Total number of accredited voters, 398874. Total number of votes received by the presidential candidate of each of the political parties as follows. A party, 312. A party, 312. AA, 915. AA, 915. AAC 221. AAC 221. ADC 1034. ADC 1034. ADP 1295. ADP 1295. APC 15145. APC 15145. Am I correct? Okay. 151459. ABGA 875. ABGA 875. APM 472. APM 472. APP 256. APP 256. BP 149. BP 149. LP 2406. LP 2406, NNPP 182.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
Me, I'm not afraid of that man.
Me too.
What can he really do?
I hope you people are discussing about paying me my rent. Oh.
Oga landlord, calm down. We are discussing.
APC got 151,554 votes. Labor, sorry, I'm sorry. So for Yobe, yes, 151,459 votes. Labour Party scored 2,406 votes. Rabiu Kwankwaso scored 18,270 votes. Atiku scored 198,000. 567 votes. Those are the results from Yobe State. PDP wins with 198,567 votes. Rabiu Kwankwaso, 18,270. Peter Obi, 2,406. Tinubu, 151,459. Let's take this break. We'll be right back.
I'm loving. It is the month of love, and even though, love is supposed to be
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Collation Center. We see a lot that has so many Nigerians scratching their heads. You know, the way Professor Yakubu was talking, it sounded like INEC at the national level is on autopilot. It sounded like they're very reluctant to overturn anything that a state has done, or to look into the process, or to confirm whether the state followed the rules. So if that's the case, Chief, doesn't that mean that politicians can just do whatever it takes to get any result at the state level, because National Collation Center will just rubber stamp it?
Yes, for now, Sandra, that I think for as long as I've been following Nigerian politics in the Fourth Republic, that's been the case. Most of the time, you only get a fair result if by the time it gets to state level, before it crosses to national, whatever irregularities you have, you've managed to correct them. So when you have a situation where the REC at state level refuses to correct, or it does not understand what needs to be corrected, or is in collusion with those who did the wrong thing, so doesn't want to correct, once it gets past the REC and heads to Abuja, it's very rare to see the National Collation Center say, no, we're not going to do this. And there is no good reason why. Let me be clear. There is no good reason why we see this election after election. The National Collation Center often just abdicates its responsibility and just lets everything be business as usual. And that's part of what emboldens RECs, because the REC knows, well, after I've submitted, what are they going to do? You know, so that's part of the problem.
Lagos, join the conversation. 0700-993-993-993 01465-7190. That's for women. You know, Labour Party, PDP, a few others, they're claiming that many results that are being presented at state and national level do not reflect the results from the polling units. And they're blaming the fact that in a lot of polling units, the INEC staff did not upload the presidential election results by BIVAS in real time. You know, I wonder if we've seen any data on how widespread this problem was.
Well, I think the only data I have so far is the one Stairs has said that right, at least at the time when we went on air, only 40% of polling units had a result up on Irev. So 4 out of every 10.
Is that good or bad? 48 hours after the election.
Well, it's bad even 3 hours after the election.
Okay.
Right.
So 48 hours.
And so one, it's bad that it's happening 48 hours after the election. Two, it's bad that it's happening with results being announced. There's no way results should be announced in places where it's not 100% BIVAS reporting on Irev. You should see the 100% before you see the result.
Can I just say that I'm struck by the lack of data in the conversation? So, for example, INEC has not told us how many polling units nationwide were affected, or how many units were able to upload by Saturday evening. And by evening, I mean 11, because as at 10:30, nothing had been uploaded. Is it even possible to have a rational conversation about how serious or unserious this problem was without data, without statistics?
It's difficult to, and my experience working against and observing INEC for over a decade in politics is that INEC enjoys the ambiguity. INEC enjoys the lack of data. The lack of data allows INEC to say there were some irregularities, but not enough irregularities to ultimately affect the outcome or the credibility of the election. And everybody accepts that. But when you now have pure data, so data of how many polling units did INEC fail to arrive in time? What percentage of them? What percentage of polling units did INEC fail to start the election in time? What percentage of LGAs did INEC fail to upload the results? in real time? What percentage of wards did INEC report a result in spite of Irev not reporting polling unit results? What percentage of constituencies was a result announced even though the ward announced results, even though there was no BIVAS, no reports on results on Irev? When you have that type of data, it allows you to hold INEC for Shokoto and say, hey, wait, come here. What's all this?
But with all of these problems and a growing lack of trust in INEC from voters themselves, it's not a surprise that people like Romeo, we mentioned him earlier, have said things like, I will never vote again in my life. The way the media gave us hope, he even said, especially you, Madam Sandra, you told us the results were going to be transmitted in the polling unit. Today, that's not the case. I'm never going to go through this again. I've seen that sentiment from multiple sources. What do you say to people like that, Chief?
It's a fair concern. It's fair. I understand where people like Romeo are coming from. I understand. But let me say this. While it is human and natural to feel discouraged and want to give up, it is also normal to face things that make you want to feel that way. But it's also necessary to overcome that feeling and stand. If your ancestors gave up, we would still be ruled by the British today. If your parents gave up, we would still be ruled by the military today. If people like me gave up, Obasanjo will be running for his 8th term now. I was locked up for fighting the 3rd term agenda. I have marks on my body for fighting against election malpractice. If we gave up, you won't even have BIVAS today. Every single right you have, every single opportunity you have to take this country for yourself was won by people who felt exactly the way you do now, but found something in themselves to stand up and say no. Now, that's not for everybody. Some will give up. And like I said, I understand. But I want to believe there are enough Nigerians who won't. I want to believe there are enough daughters of the women who stood at the Aba Women's Riot and they will not give up. I want to believe there are enough sons of the Nadeko people who stood up to Abacha that will not give up. And those few are the ones that will force INEC officers to transmit results at polling units. Those few are the ones that will insist that INEC does the right thing at the Collation Center. It's like Shakespeare said in Henry V. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile. This day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England, gentlemen in Nigeria, now abed, shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, while any speaks who fought with us on election day. It's your country. It's not INEC's country. You only take your country if you feel the discouragement you're feeling now, but find something inside you that says 2 weeks from now I'm coming out again, and now I know I must force them to send that result offline on BIVAS. One step at a time, one victory at a time. Remember your ancestors, remember your parents, remember me in that cell, and come out in 2 weeks.
Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. 0700-993-993-993 01465-7190. Let's talk. We've got WhatsApp as well. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Hello, thank you for calling us.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, ma'am?
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening.
My name is Sharon. Well, I was among the people that almost gave up But just listening to Chief, I felt, because I knew how I went out of my way, lodging just to make sure that I observed the election, and then I cast my vote, and then coming on to listen to the INEC saying so many things that as good as our votes, not even like we're not good enough to cast vote, or that whatever it can get away with whatever they want to do. It's just so obvious that we still have a lot to do as electorate. Let's watch and see what happens. Thank you, Chief, for all the sacrifice.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. 99.3. Hello. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Chika.
Chika, welcome.
Well, I think I must comment Chief, but I think he gets a point in life whereby you just get tired of everything. I have to travel like 15 kilometers just to make sure I vote on Saturday. And after all this process, I mean, watching the career going on in Abuja, you cannot but begin to ask yourself, does it really worth it? And there's something I want to say. The reason why we find ourselves where we are today is simply because some people think they have power over the rest of us. And what is that power? The use of force and firearms. If we can legalize the use of a firearm in this country, this shenanigan we find ourselves in wouldn't have taken place. Because the reason why they came to disrupt the process, came to hijack the ballot boxes, went to collation centers and disrupt everything and attack the results was because they have power and they have firearms. If we all bear firearms, nobody will rise up to intimidate anybody in this country.
Yeah, but it's currently illegal to bear firearms in the country, you know, and I think that there are legal ways for the people to prevail, you know. I think that there are, and we showed that on Saturday, you know, in multiple polling units, multiple centers where people could vote. They showed that they could prevail against the system, you know. It came at great cost. However, in a country where everybody can bear arms, it often descends into chaos. I bring you the example of the United States of America. You know, you be in Lagos traffic, you get annoyed, and you like take that frustration out on someone. So I'm always very wary about, you know, those waters. So I will ask that we, you know, refrain from making suggestions like that. I've got messages on WhatsApp. Sandra, good afternoon to you. We were being advised by your guest to insist on transmitting results via BIVAS to INEC before INEC officially departs from the polling unit. How do we handle a situation where we insist the INEC official resists and they're later being smuggled away under the protection of the Nigerian police, as it was being witnessed in some polling units last Saturday? DG, with that question, what do you think, Chief?
Well, I think before the election, like I think the lead up week or two before the election, you broke down the police numbers.
I did, yes.
You broke down the numbers, and what the numbers came to is that the police can't be at every polling unit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So in this situation, unfortunately, when we were talking about that before, so let's talk about it in the context of, well, if the police is not every polling unit, how will they protect everybody? Well, in this case, the question now is, if the police is not at every polling unit, how will they protect the INEC staff who are trying to subvert the process? So the police are not there. They're not going to be able to rescue every INEC staff who is refusing to transmit. So that means if everybody at their polling unit, in unison, all 176,000 polling units across the country, in unison, are insisting, hundreds of you against two INEC officials inside the polling unit, peacefully, non-violently surround them and say, transmit. If they are all relying on the police to come and save them, and help them get away with breaking the law, only out of the 176,000, maybe only 20,000 will get help from the police.
Okay.
And so that leaves you with the vast majority of the time, you will get your result.
We've got so many messages here, so many people saying, I don't know where to find the strength to do it. Someone here says, I'm 65 years old. I will never vote again after what happened on Saturday. Sandra, Chief has been saying my mind since I've been listening to him yesterday. To be honest with you, I'm beginning to get tired of this thing that we've all seen to what length anyone can go to just to gain power. So coming the next 2 weeks, we're definitely changing things. Okay, I love to hear that. Love to hear that. Ayo from Lagos says, wow, God bless the Chief. I feel inspired already. We go again on March 11th. Great. Love to hear that. Chief, you should start doing his motivational tour. We've got Basil from Ikorodu. How does INEC chairman want to firstly conclude a process that has been found to be faulty midway before coming back to do a review? What this means is that you are firstly and deliberately bringing the process to a faulty and wrong conclusion, when you would have dealt with the issues to ensure your conclusion in the first place is right and correct without faults. If INEC chairman believes that collation and issues arising therefrom ends at the wards and state levels, why is he inviting comments from party agents at the National Collation Center after result has been read, or are the party agents' comments mere formalities?
Yes, INEC has to decide, is that national collation a ceremony and formality, or is it an actual piece of the process where decisions can still be taken?
99.3. Hello. Hello. Thank you for calling. What's your name, sir?
Yeah, this is Namdi calling from Ikodu.
Andy?
Namdi,
welcome.
Yeah. I must say that I'm kind of disappointed.
Okay.
I'm kind of disappointed the way the collation, the results are going. I'm kind of disappointed because I took my time to go around after voting on Saturday.
Okay.
To some polling units.
Don't talk to me about the results.
Counting as it was going on.
Don't talk to me about the results.
Hello?
Don't talk to me about the results. Just go ahead. Oh, unfortunately, I don't think he was hearing me. So is it too soon for people to be disappointed? Is it too soon? Because we've barely gotten that many results in. Is it too soon for this disappointment that people are calling in to share?
Well, I guess, like I said, I understand 100% where it came from, where it comes from, right? I understand that. I think what people need to remember is that elections are a process, right? What happens is NK the bird, like I said. Hunter learns to shoot without missing. You learn to fly without perching. You've seen how to beat them. Anyone that wants to rig the election using BIVAS, Saturday showed us how to checkmate that, right? Now, the cost of learning that lesson was that in some places they got away with not transmitting results so that people could later on come and change the result. That was the cost, right? But now, you know how to checkmate that. So, if you're giving up, it means you're saying the thing that happened on Saturday is bound to happen again, and I don't have an answer for it. But you do. You do.
Hold that thought. We'll go to Abuja and see if we're ready for the next results to be announced. We have a state waiting to announce this.
Dr. Chukwemeka Joseph Chukwu, Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC, Enugu State. Beside me is
I'm Professor Madu ABBC of Foiwe, Vice Chancellor Michael O'Brien, University of Agriculture Mudike, Collation Officer for the presidential election in Enugu State.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. These are the results of the collation we did in Enugu State. The number of registered voters 2,112,793. 2,112,793. Number of accredited voters 482,990. 482,990. Votes received by political parties. A, 165. 165. AA, 77. 77. AAC, 128. 128. ADC, 282. 282. ADP, 200. 200. APC, 4772. 4772. APGA, 1548. 1548. APM, 351. 351. APP, 209. 209. BP, 504. 504. LP, 428 640. 428 640. NNPP, 1808. 1808. NRM.
Yeah, you like enjoyment, you like to jump, of course.
Yes, you like to jump, of course.
Domino pizza, don't come
strongly disagree, Chief, because when our news teams and other news teams were going around Lagos, going around other cities on Saturday morning, we saw insanely large crowds of people waiting for INEC. Was turnout low, or did people simply not get a chance to vote because INEC did not show up on time?
You're 100% correct, Sandra. Turnout was not low. People turned out in their numbers. INEC forced people to wait all day to vote. And so a lot of people couldn't wait all day and left. In other places, INEC didn't turn up at all, so people didn't vote. Then after all of that is done, the few people who were able to vote after waiting all day, those are the ones that are captured. And then analysts...
You haven't even talked about the people who did not go home, who were there in their thousands
and still did not vote
because I know
it's too late.
Got tired.
Yes, and then they stopped.
Only captured 200 people. Yeah, they were in the queue and weren't allowed to vote.
Then at the end, because nobody is capturing that data, analysts who, for lack of a better word, are not very motivated to think about their analysis, will now say, "Oh, voter turnout was low," and blame it on the people. We have a tendency in Nigeria to blame the people for everything. We have a tendency to talk down at the people, right? But we also, what happened? People turned out, INEC failed to capture them, and then we're not allowed to say it's low turnout. It's the same way that people will see polling unit results saying one thing, then the official results saying another thing, and then we will all be talking as if the official result is true. We can't even say this is the result that was announced, but we have evidence that it was wrong. Even something that simple, we can't say. In fact, it becomes a crime. In fact, there's a way you will say it. There's a way you will say it on air that NBC will come after you, and that is all part of the holdover of the military era. This thought policing, the party tells you what to think. The party tells you which data is the right data. And so we are just so used to that a lot of the time we don't question these things. We just repeat them unthinkingly. Voter turnout was high. INEC capture of voters was low.
I like how you put that, because I keep thinking about the number of reports we got of people waiting for INEC, waiting all day. INEC gets there, they have just one BIVAS machine for thousands of people, or they have only 100 ballot papers, or they have only one box of ink and not enough ink to go around. I saw a report in a polling unit here in Lagos where the people in that polling unit had to go and get ink for INEC because the ink that INEC came with, had finished. I got a report from River State of the INEC lady who was working by herself and then kept saying, "I'm tired, I want to go, I'm tired, I want to go." And there were thousands of people still waiting to be accredited and to be able to vote, because accreditation and voting are happening simultaneously. So you have INEC sending too few people out to the polling units. You have INEC arriving late at these polling units. You have INEC coming with faulty equipment to these polling units, sometimes incomplete equipment to these polling units, and people are waiting, a lot of them waiting for this process, and at the end of the day they end up not voting. Let's not even begin to talk about those who are chased away by thugs, chased away by complicit security agents. So all of these things are factors that are not getting captured, but because the talking point year after year after year after year is voter loan, it annoys me so much, especially when I hear media professionals repeat
who should know better.
Repeat, because what did your eye see? You saw voter turnout. Why are you looking at what was accredited by INEC? You saw it with your eyes. Why are you ignoring what your eyes saw and you're paying attention to what was captured on machines, knowing all the other factors that were was the word I'm looking for now, present during the accreditation process, during the voting process? I need people to just stop repeating things, like robots, and just pause, think. What did my eyes see? What did I count? What did I hear?
But the funny thing about that, Sandra, what you're saying, it sounds so straightforward and it sounds so common sense. But when you have to now remember that Nigerian society in the military era and post-military is one where government and every powerful institution is telling Nigerians repeatedly, ignore what your eyes see and believe what we are. Even not believe, but don't you dare say what we have not said. Don't you dare report what we did not say is the official report. Don't you dare spread fake news. Don't you dare overheat the polity. What's overheating the polity? Telling the truth most of the time. Most of the time, it's just simply telling the truth.
Let's come back to voter turnout, because INEC said that anyone who was in the queue before 2:30 will vote, regardless of how late INEC showed up.
Yes.
Do you think that this measure was enough to guarantee that enough people voted? Or is there something else that, I don't know, INEC should be doing to ensure that people are not disenfranchised just because the umpire showed up late?
Yeah, it's obviously it's not enough, right? It's not enough, because even then, we got the reports. I was here in the studio with you, and somebody said, they told them, and the woman said, the INEC lady said she didn't get that instruction from anybody. So Mahmoud Yakubu is announcing something on TV, and it's not, he's announcing it on TV to us, but it's not percolating down the chain of command to the people at the units.
Doesn't it remind you of IGPs
and
saying no more
checkpoint?
road?
Exactly. That is the exact same thing, right? And then there is no system in place of monitoring and evaluation to assess, okay, what percentage of INEC polling unit staff are complying. Nothing like that in place within INEC or even exposed to the public, where the public can observe and report and say, look, it's what you've said is not what's happening. And then somebody made a point, look, at the end of the day, let INEC open up and tell us, is it that you're not capable of running an election nationwide?
Should we get Deloitte to do it like Big Brother?
Exactly. Like, is that what needs to happen? Like, no, tell us what is the headache, because look, this man stood there, kept his mouth like this and told us they are ready. You are ready for an election means you are ready to be able to process every registered voter that showed up. That is the idea. I am ready for election means if all 93 million Nigerians who registered to vote all show up to their polling unit, you will be able to process them between 8:30 and 2:30. That is what we are ready for election means. Then after you've processed them, you'll be able to record their vote, transmit it electronically for all 176,000 polling units without your portal crashing. That's what we are ready for election means.
Do you think that people's experiences in this election and the results that they're seeing will improve turnout next time or worsen it?
It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. For every one caller saying we're discouraged, we're not coming out, you have other caller saying, look, we are going to come out, right? Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, like, it comes down to Nigerians themselves. Nigerians themselves, I hope they are not just seeing the discouragement, because I think part of the problem also is the way we are raised and the way we are taught in school. We are taught failure, shame, right? It creates defeatism in us. It teaches us not to aspire, not to thrive.
It's one of the reasons I really admire the kids who come on I Beg to Differ.
I want to come back.
Incidentally, Chief is also our chief judge on I Beg to Differ. But it is one of the reasons I admire those kids. Imagine that Ruth Okorocha, after losing her very first match on this air on Nigeria Info, had just gone home and gone to bed. She wouldn't have come back in March and won.
Yeah.
So she lost in the very first edition, very first episode that aired of I Beg to Differ ever. That Monday she lost, right?
Yes.
But she came back months later in March and won.
Yes.
She went all the way, beating everyone, and she won.
Yes.
Same thing for Emmanuel Busari, same thing for any number of them that have come back over and over. Those children inspire me so much.
Same thing for Muhammadu Buhari. Same thing for Atiku Abubakar.
Well, he hasn't won.
Yeah, but he's coming back each time, right? Even same thing for Bola Tinubu. Same thing for Peter Obi. Peter Obi lost a vice presidential election. Here he is now.
Trying to be president.
The difference between the people who rule us and the people who are ruled is that the people who are ruled are very quick to say, you don't do, there's no hope for us. I once saw an interview with General Ibrahim Babangida, former military head of state, years ago, some foreign documentary, and they were talking about the coups in Nigeria.
Okay.
And they asked him straight up, why is it that there's just a small group of officers that seem to have been responsible for so many coups? Like, what at the end of the day differentiates you from everybody else? And this man tapped his stomach and said, guts. Every day, the establishment is daring Nigerians. Do you have the guts to, within the law, stand up for your rights? And every time they do things like what we just saw, they are saying and betting that Nigerians will not stand up, that Nigerians will get tired and go home. We won't come out again next time. The only person who gains from you not coming out to vote is someone who wants to rig the election. When people come out in numbers, they stop rigging. It is just simple. Even the places where they tried not to transmit the result by BIVAS, where there was a crowd, the crowd insisted and forced them to do it. And some of those results are now there today. The only person who gains from you being discouraged is the person trying to dominate you. But I think that resilience is something that Nigerians have to find for themselves. But that's why I'm happy about this younger generation. Because the people who got shot at the toll gate in 2020 are people who came out to vote. And I have so much love and respect for that generation. Me, people like me, I have more past years than future years.
Which is a nice place to come to the results from Lagos, because we haven't talked about that yet. The Lagos INEC Collation Center is reporting that Peter Obi of the Labour Party has scored 582,454. Bola Tinubu of the APC got 572,606. Every presidential election from 1999 onwards, Bola Tinubu's candidate has won until this Saturday, when he was on the ballot.
That's one in Lagos.
Yes, in Lagos, yes. They've won in Lagos until he was on the ballot on Saturday. What factors do you believe led to this? How did the kingmaker lose his grip on his city?
Well, it remains to be seen, but definitely what we saw was a very big change in the voter demographic here in Lagos. And what I mean by that is, across all socioeconomic strata, people came out to vote. So it's not the same group of people who usually vote that voted now. And I'm not even saying, and a lot of the, because even like with the APC, a lot of the, what they call it, analysis has tended to be tribal. But I'm not even talking about that, because a lot of my Yoruba friends are saying to me, this is the first time I've voted. My Yoruba colleagues, many of them are like, before now I've never voted, but I'm coming out to vote. So when you see that and hear that, that always means that there's probably going to be a change in voting pattern when first-time voters come out, right? And there are lots of people who before now, or maybe before the last election and most, like never vote. Sandra, you hear it all the time from your callers. I've never voted before. This is my first time. And you see that in the result, right? You see that in the result. It so happened by coincidence that a lot of those people who chose to come out for the first time seems like they chose to come out for Peter Obi and Labour, right? That was not, it's not like what's what I'm looking for. It didn't have to be that way. They could have, a group of first-time voters could have come out for Atiku, or come out again, more of them for Tinubu or whatever. But it so happened that this particular group of first-time voters that came out happened to come out because they wanted Peter Obi. And that's, I think, when you look at the Nigerian, the polity, to me, anything that brings out first-time voters is a good thing. Anything that, because there are a lot of people who never vote. So anything that gets people, I mean, we saw it with PVCs, with CVR, control voter registration, so many new registrations. We saw people pick up their PVC for the first time. So there was definitely a wave. And look, and let's be fair, all credit to Obi himself and the obedience movement. Because the obedience movement made a lot of noise, and people were very dismissive of them as a group for, like, from the beginning. 4 people in a room tweeting. He's left the major party. Yeah, he should have stayed in the PDP. He has gone to a party that never wins anything. That party doesn't have structure. I think we've seen that in this. I think Obi's victory here shows us that one, structure is something that you can build overnight, right? That's one. If structure, what we mean by structure is the ability to mobilize people to come out and vote. Structure is something that you can build overnight.
I don't think that that's what the other political parties mean when they talk about structure.
That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm being very, very clear, very, very precise and saying if what you mean by structure is the ability to mobilize people to come out and vote
for you.
Obi just proved in Lagos that structure can be built overnight. Now, if you mean by structure, you mean other things. Like ability to change results. Maybe Obi doesn't have that, but at least he has shown that. So I want to believe and I want to hope that will encourage other Nigerians to organize for other candidates in the future, and other Nigerians without structure to also come out to run.
I've got a statement here from Dayo Israel, the APC national youth leader. He's also a Lagosian. On Twitter, he seemed very distressed this morning. In one tweet, he was appealing to APC officials to start going door to door in the state, saying that they should beg people who they've offended for forgiveness, saying that all political appointees should not bother coming to work on the 13th if APC loses again on the 11th, March 11th governorship elections. What does that tell you?
Well, when you hear a party operative, this is a national officer of a party.
Yes, he's
a national youth leader of the party. So he's not just some supporter shouting on Twitter.
I should mention he has deleted that tweet now, by the way.
Oh, I think he has been counseled because that's not the type of tweet that if I were a party person, it's not the type of tweet I want to see in public from a national officer.
Right.
Because what that communicates is that the national officer is afraid of election loss. One.
Right.
Two, that the national officer doesn't have confidence in the officials of the party in the state.
Right.
Three, he doesn't have regard for them because he's berating them in public.
Right.
Because after all, that tweet could have been a text message.
Right.
Could have been, I'm sure there's a WhatsApp group chat where they're all there.
Yeah.
It could have gone there.
Yeah.
So why was that being that was sort of projecting fear.
Right.
Projecting fear. And it's very interesting to hear an incumbent in a state for a governorship election where the incumbent governor is on the ballot expressing fear.
Why is that interesting?
Incumbents tend to win in Nigeria.
Right.
Incumbents tend to be able to control things.
Right.
And the only incumbent in the Fourth Republic in Lagos who didn't return was Akinwumi Ambode, and he lost the primary. And he lost the primary because, Chief Bola Tinubu said, you're not going because you've not been a good party man.
Right.
Right? And he lost to Sanwo-Olu.
Right.
But incumbents have, but again, like you pointed out, before now, Bola Tinubu's party has never lost a presidential election in Lagos. 99, 03, 07, 11, 15, 19. Winning streak just ended this Saturday. And so that's probably sending a lot of fear into the APC. If we can lose the presidential with, the Jagaban on the ticket, what happens when the Jagaban is not on the ticket and it's just Sanwo-Olu versus Lagos? What happens?
Sanwo-Olu versus Lagos. I like how that sounds. Before this result was announced, Labour Party was alleging widespread malpractice. I'm seeing that the Director General of the campaign for P2B was also addressing the press. We've heard from the Labour Party chairman. We've heard from the NLC alleging widespread malpractice, calling for a cancellation in some places. Do you think they'll change their tune?
Well, it doesn't seem like they're changing their tune.
Yeah.
And at least I heard from Gbadebo Road Survival, who is the governorship candidate of the party, going up against Sanwo-Olu in 2 weeks. And Road Survival's position was simply this. He said, we won Lagos, but we won Lagos by a much wider margin than what is being reported. And every vote counts, right?
But they won Lagos.
Yes, but remember this, that this is not the United States, where in the presidential election, you win a state, you get a certain number of delegates for winning the state. It's a certain number of points. In a Nigerian election, what counts is getting the highest number of actual human votes nationwide, one, and then two, getting 25% in 2/3 of the states. So Obi has gotten his 25% in Lagos. That's fine. Bola Tinubu also got his 25% in Lagos. Now, in terms of the first condition of getting the most votes of all the candidates nationwide, Obi did not get much more than Tinubu here in Lagos. It's less than 100,000 votes, the difference, right? He walked away with like 580 something.
I'm seeing, by the way, that Samuel Otom lost his senatorial bid for Benue Northwest Senatorial District. I just thought to bring that to you. So it's interesting that Long lost, Samuel Otom also lost.
Yes, and Otom already knew what was happening, and he saw the writing on the wall when he endorsed Obi. He said it that he doesn't mind losing his seat. Of course, he was saving face because the people had already said what they were going to say.
But back to your point.
Yeah, so now to my point. So now, if a candidate wins 1 million votes in Lagos, for example, I'm just putting that number. You win 1 million votes in Lagos and you win Lagos. And your opponents or INEC or anybody is able by some means to cut that your vote tally down to 580,000 and say, well, you still won Lagos. But those 420,000 votes that they just subtracted from you in Lagos are 420,000 votes subtracted from you for the national race.
Okay.
Now, you end up winning. Let's say now you end up in the national race, you come second. You come second by 200,000 votes. If your votes in Lagos were not cut, you would have won the national race.
Okay.
So, if indeed, and again, this is assuming but not conceding that the Labour Party is telling the truth and they are correct and they won Lagos by a wider margin, there is a material risk that Labour Party's chance of winning the presidential election was damaged by someone illegally removing votes from them here in Lagos.
Assuming Labour Party is
assuming they are telling the truth, and that's why anybody running an election, you want every single vote to be counted properly.
Okay. I've had a great time having this conversation with you. Our time is up. Chief Andy Obuoforibo, thank you so much for your generosity today. He's a political analyst, and he's typically on the show with me Fridays at 3, but he's been doing Mandate 23 with me since Saturday. Up next is the news at 6. After that, we'll bring you the newsroom by the newsroom, and we'll continue Mandate 23 election coverage. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, Ezekwesili on social media. Good night, Lagos.
Right back. Moves must be made. My people just to work hard. Dreams and challenges motivate us. But sometimes when the journey gets